cousin, my mom's cousin, excuse me, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point,
like,
so I can respond.
My point is that no, and I'm not trying to be funny, unless, like you said, we're gonna keep it respectful.
Yeah, but you're monopolizing the whole conversation. And
I'm
we're
not trying.
being
Okay, I'm
able
gonna let
to
you speak, but let's not get the attitudes and stuff, because you're my sister and I respect you. So
I don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you, but you're literally speaking this, and you're not going to do that with me either.
All right, guys, part 2 of my reaction to Jubilee video of 20 black conservatives versus 1 black radical. So this is prompt number 2. If you haven't seen my part 1 yet, I'll put a link to it in the description below, but don't watch that until you watch this. All right, so let's just jump right into this.
My next claim is that black on black crime is a result of underinvestment and over-policing.
So you say that black on black crime is due to underfunding and over-policing, essentially.
Yes.
I actually don't necessarily disagree with one of those. Okay. I think that, however, the government, who do you think should be responsible for the funding piece of the black community? Should that be something that the government should step into, or should that be something that we as black people need to handle ourselves? Dr. Jordan Peterson and even Thomas Sowell and several others have stated one thing, that poverty and crime, there's a positive correlation. There's also a positive correlation in the black community of absentee fatherism being one of the root causes leading into criminality. Black males that grow up without a father are 10 times more likely to engage in criminal activity. And so I think one of the...
Can I put a pin right there and ask you a question?
Ask me whatever you like.
What is the root cause of there being less fathers present?
Bad decision-making on the part of the fathers. We live in a patriarchal system. Like it or not, men have dominated the socioeconomic, economic, and political power of this country and the world since our existence. So our bad decision-making, especially when we focus on the black community, is the root cause of fatherlessness.
What type of decisions?
Not marrying the women we decide to lay down and have children with. Not being careful with the seeds that we plant in women. No woman can get pregnant without a man planting his seed inside of her. So therefore...
So it's marriage?
Well, that's a part of it. Marriage is a part of it. Okay. But the true piece that I'm looking at is connectedness between familial units. The black community was at its economically strongest while being at its poorest during the segregation era. Prior to 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King in his last speech said that we have an annual income of more than $30 billion a year, which is more than all of the exports of Canada and more than all of the exports of the United States and more than the national budget of Canada. That was when we were economically at our poorest. Yet 85% of our black children were growing up with a father in the home. There was less black on black crime. There was less disenfranchisement.
Why was there less black on black crime?
Because we needed to live together. We had to stick by each other.
What was there also less of?
I'm not sure where you're leading. That's a leading question.
So I just want to start off by saying, like, I think one thing that's not talked about enough is how the lack of fathers in black homes. Like, there's many black children that grow up without dads, so they grow up without no role model, especially young men. They don't know what kind of men they need to be because they don't have a man present in the home. You know, like you're not, you know, I grew up with a single mom. A lot of people grow up with single moms, turn out pretty good. But at the end of the day, you need you need a father in the home. And women like her like to downplay that as not really a serious issue. And that's a huge issue. Asians have the lowest amount of divorce rate and most fathers in the home percentage wise, and they're the most successful. There's definitely a correlation there.
I don't like
you don't like this?
I don't like leading questions. No, I like direct stuff.
So essentially, when we were living in our own communities, we were also policing our own communities. So we were not being used as statistics in the same way to determine how resources were provided to our own communities. When we were going to the government saying, hey, we deserve because we are supposed to be separate but equal, we weren't saying, hey, we want to be with y'all. We were essentially saying, we want what you are stating we deserve. And that is what all of the efforts of the civil rights movement has been. It's literally just been to say, you said when we got out of the Civil War that we would be considered citizens. And all citizens should be getting equal access to these things. However, you are actively allowing the Klan to harm us. You are actively allowing...
Who's killed more black people, the Klan or us?
I would like to continue my statement. I let you speak uninterrupted.
You did.
When we talk about this concept of who is harming us, we are really making a false claim when it comes to black on black crime, as if there isn't white on white crime. There's also this unnecessary effort to try and pathologize black on black crime in a way that you don't try to pathologize white on white crime. There are white people killing each other every single day. Now, they may be on jet skis in the pictures after they shoot up their whole family, but nonetheless, there are white people killing each other every single day. Now, much of the reason why you may see more numbers in terms of black on black crime are for two reasons. One, the statistics be lying all the time. We have seen
What
this.
numbers? Okay, when you
we have
say that,
seen
no,
this
no.
in a real way.
But I have a
So in
question.
New
No,
Jersey.
when you say
so
when
in
you
New
Always the statistics are lying. Look, if you want to do total numbers wise, yeah, more white people might kill more white people than black and black. Black make up 13% of the population. White people make up like 60. But if you talk about percentage wise, black on black crime is way higher than white on white crime. And the biggest thing with a lot of white communities is more like opioid abuse, drug abuse, stuff like that. It's not necessarily like gang violence and people shooting each other. It's more like just like robbing for drugs, which I'm not saying I'm not trying to downplay. That is a serious issue too, which needs to be resolved. But women like this try to like downplay, oh, black on black crime, blah, blah. Black on black crime isn't even really talked about. She's acting like it's the biggest talked about thing ever. Most news outlets ignore crime in Chicago, in Baltimore, Philly, Detroit, all these big cities. Like Chicago, there's like 15, 20 people that get shot every weekend. When was the last time you saw CNN report that? You didn't, because they don't report on this stuff. They act like it doesn't exist. But if a white person shot a bunch of people, it'd be all over the news. Okay, so there's something going on here. And I think that's very harmful to the black community, where that stuff's not talked about. And it's actually demonized if you do talk about it.
Jersey.
What numbers can be trusted? Because with the previous speaker, you said
I'm about to
statistics all
tell
the
you
time.
right now.
Okay, so your sources can
You
be
can't
trusted.
such number. No, I'm literally about to give you an example of numbers not being able to be trusted.
Okay, talk to me.
That's what I was doing.
I'm listening.
Okay, then listen.
Oh, my ears open.
So listen, in New Jersey, they had a statistic that was created by the police department that said, look at how many black people are committing crimes. Look at how crazy this number is. These black people are so exorbitantly violent. Look at this. And then people went and actually matched the names that they were booking with the faces of the actual people incarcerated. Okay. And it was proven that they were lying.
So that's one instance.
That's
Hold on.
one
No, you're
example.
talking to somebody that works as a police dispatcher when I'm not making content. So here's the thing.
I see.
No.
And add on to that, yeah, it might be one example. I don't know if there's other examples like that. But the thing is, when it comes to this stuff, she's basically saying the system is against black people. So in Baltimore, most of the cops are black. The high up people in the police stations are black. The mayor is black. A lot of the local government is black. Crime is still insane there. So how do you explain that? Are the black people in the system lying about how bad black crime is to make black people look bad? Like, you can only make the excuse so many times to say statistics are bad. And honestly, if you want to argue the other way around, there was actually just a police officer or someone in the DC police department a month ago that got suspended for manipulating crime statistics in DC that benefited black people. So this works both ways by her own argument.
You see what? You're about to see the truth if you just give me a second. Like Trump said, just give me a second. I'm going to do the weave, but give me a minute.
Well, here's what you all keep doing. You keep interrupting me when I'm talking, and you don't want to hear the point that I'm going to make. And yet you want me to respect your point. And that's not how a debate works. So if you want me to keep getting louder, I will do it. But ultimately, if I show you respect, give me the respect back. I let you talk. I let you make your points. I am countering your points. And my points are just as valid as yours, even though you got a pocket square and a Church of Christ pin on your chest.
It's not a Church of Christ. It's
whatever.
A cross.
It's a cross. Same difference. You got an American flag and you think you know something because you a cop. And ultimately,
not a cop. Dispatcher.
Ultimately, it's ACAB all day over here. So let me make that clear. But let me also add to my point.
You hear that? She said it's ACAB all day over here. All cops are bad. Just to show you where her mindset is. All cops are bad.
My point is that you can sit here and blame black people on black people all day long and not acknowledge that we are forced into, you're coming to interrupt me again.
I haven't even said a word.
All right, that is flags.
See, this is like the liberal thing to do here. They think if you talk louder and over someone, like she was just doing there, she's winning an argument. She's like, I'm going to keep getting louder. I'm going to keep getting louder. Like, there's no reason to act that way.
So I'm going to ask you to return to your seat.
It's a waste of my time. Y'all just want to be seen. I don't need to be seen.
Then why did you agree to do the Jubilee debate? If you didn't need to be seen or didn't want to be seen, whatever, why would you agree to do this?
Hello.
How are you? I'm
Yes,
Jasmine, the pretty queen.
laid.
Say less outfit. Okay.
Thank you.
So this is my thing. I think the premise of your question was black on black crime. So I think I'm coming from a place, and I guess my issue is having had my biological father murdered by a black man, having had my cousin shot in the head by a black man. We can talk numbers and statistics and what the people are doing, what the white man is doing and all that. But at the end of the day, I see when my family lives on the south side of Chicago, and I think you and I both can attest to this, and I'm not saying that there are not other factors, but we know that we kill each other at a disproportionate rate than any other race. Now, why we do that and why 6,000 to 9,000 black men are going to be homicided or killed or whatever by the end of the year annually by other black men, whereas the likelihood of a black man being killed by a white police officer is less than 150 per year, we know that we kill each other at a higher rate. So I'm not debating that there are not factors at play, but because I've lived the experience as a black woman losing my father to be murdered by a black man, walking down the street
by the way.
No worries, thank you. But walking down the street in inner cities and different things, knowing that it's more likely that my own brother will rob and rape me than a white man or a white officer, we got to be real.
What's your proximity to white men in the south side of Chicago? Are there even white men around to rob and rape you at the same rate that there are black men?
There are white men around.
At the same rate?
There wasn't a lot of black people in there, but then that doesn't...
What she's trying to imply is the statistics of this, of you being more likely to get killed by a black guy, attacked by a black guy, is because you're around more black people. Okay, but the thing is, in mostly white communities, this crime doesn't happen. Like, it happens, but it's very small. So why is it, by her logic, that mostly black communities have a higher rate this than mostly white communities, mostly Asian communities? It doesn't, like, she's trying to say, oh, it's because you're around them more. Those communities commit more crimes than other race communities.
And justify the fact that we're destroying each other. So even if we get to the root, like
we can agree on that.
Okay, because I feel like a lot of times liberals will argue like, well,
I'm not a liberal.
Are killing
I am
people.
I'm not a liberal.
Okay, well, I will say that people that sometimes have your stance that are against conservatives, maybe they have this claim that they're making it up, they're making up the numbers. We know that we do that to each other. So I want to get to the root of the issue. Why are we killing each other? I think the root of the issue is we've lost our values and we've lost our resilience as black people. We sit there and we talk about what the white man did and we talk about slavery and everything like that, but we have no self-accountability and say, you know what, at the end of the day, that is my black grandmother, that is my black sister, you are my black sister, and you know that a black man is more likely to rob you or commit some type of crime against you, and that's what we need to get down to the issue of. And like you were talking about earlier, like, hey, well, what's going on? You know, what do you think the answer is to one of the brothers that were speaking? I think it's the breakdown of the family. I think, like he said, because of our poor choices, and what happens is we look at domestic violence, for example. When domestic violence, women or men are even attacked, what is the first thing we say? It's like, you know what, it's not your what? It's not your fault. So that's what we do. We hold on to this narrative that, well, it's not our fault, and the issues in our community, they're not our fault, and the white man needs to give us something. The old white lady down the street is looking at me, and I don't know why she got braids in her hair, and we focus on all these other stupid things that don't matter. We don't get to the root of the fact that we're killing each other at a higher rate than any other race. It is self-hatred amongst us, I believe, that we can do that. That we, my mom's cousin, coming from the church parking lot, and guess who stuck her up and robbed her at gunpoint? A black man.
I need you to get to the point.
Like,
so
my
I can
point
respond.
is that, no, and I'm not trying to be funny, unless, like you said, we're going to keep it respectful.
Yeah, but you're monopolizing the whole conversation.
I'm not trying. Okay, I'm gonna let you speak, but let's not get the attitudes and stuff, because you're my sister and I respect you. So I
don't have an attitude. I'm being direct to you, but you're literally speaking this, and you're not going to do that with me either.
Okay,
so you're stating your
point,
and you've been stating your point for quite some time.
So say,
you have
the
a
proper
reason
ways,
for me to respond?
Would you allow me to respond? So that's a better response. Go ahead.
The response that I have for you is that everything you're saying does not exist in a vacuum. I actually agree with you in that, yes, there has been an incredible denigration of Black worth and Black pride in this nation. I think it's also very important to acknowledge what has contributed to that. And to state that it is only Black people that have contributed to that is a false flag. So we have to admit that. So in order to have this conversation around how we got here, you can't say, oh, well, we're caring about the white woman getting braids and that doesn't matter and this thing. All of that attaches. All of that is actually a very big part of the lack of worth of Black people.
I'll ask you, do you think we're resilient? What does resilience mean to you? Do you think we have to be perpetual victims, or do you think that Black people are resilient?
I think that those are two different conversations. I think that the concept of Black people being victims is really trying to not provide accountability to where the root problem for the actual cause is. And if we keep saying that somebody is a victim and that doesn't mean that the other person should have to actually have accountability, then what are we really doing? You can do both. You can be a victim and be resilient.
How do we do both if you stay in the victimhood? That's my question.
But your statement about Black people staying in the victim place is also your point of view.
But how do we rise above it?
We continue to rise above it by, one, pouring into our communities with mutual aid, but two, by simultaneously making sure that we are challenging the systems that are in place to impede us. We have so many opportunities where we are trying to do mutual aid, and those things get disrupted by folks who want to have capitalist gain, by folks who want privatization. We used to have all these mom and pop businesses in our communities.
There's over 3 million Black millionaires in America right now. You are an intelligent Black woman that is successful.
That's irrelevant.
No one's stopping me from doing anything. I'm an intelligent Black woman that graduated and is
Many efforts have
successful.
tried to stop me from doing what I do. We are not all equal in our capabilities. And we are not all equal in our ability to be invested in by others.
I agree with
We
you.
are
Goes
not
back to my
all
question
equal
of
in our
resilient.
trauma.
Are we resilient?
We can't say because it is a false equivalency.
You know what? I agree with her. She said we're not all equal when it comes to like our talent or worthy investment and stuff like that. And you're right. We are not. Successful people typically work harder. They're more talented and they can become more successful. That's how that works. If you have more skills, you're going to be more successful. It doesn't matter what your race is. If you're a college grad, you were just prodigy, they graduated at 18, it doesn't matter what race you are, you're going to be successful. If you're really good at math, you're going to be a good engineer or physicist or something like that. You know, it's all about your skill level. You can't sit there and be like, oh, the people aren't like me and I'm the exception. We need to help all these other Black people. Like, no, Black people can be successful, but they have to want to be successful. They have to work at being successful. They can't just wait around for someone to save them like she's trying to act like they need to. And another thing too, and she was talking about how there used to be so many mom and pop shops and this and that. Did you see 2020? The BLM riots, the Summer of Love? A lot of those got destroyed in those riots. Because see, what happens is Black people riot in their own communities. They destroy shops in their own communities. That's what happens. They destroyed Black-owned businesses. That's what happens all the time in these cities. They destroy other Black people's businesses. But she doesn't talk about that. It's not white people going in there and looting. It's Black people.
That every Black person has resilience.
We
from
keep
slavery
trying,
all the way
but we
until
keep trying to cause.
I'm so sorry. You've been voted out.
First, I want to kind of get rid of this like right left ordeal. I really want to talk about just like our own personal views and what we've experienced, what we've seen. And when it comes to your claim about Black on Black crime, I really do believe, and I think a lot of people here do believe, especially based off of personal experiences and everything, that it is just lack of accountability. In the Black community, we need to start taking responsibility for our actions and stop pointing our fingers at other people and the white man. Because to be honest,
Why can't both happen at the same time?
Because
both are causes.
Because you got to clean your own house before
Both
you
are
go complain.
Why?
Because if
you're dirtying my house, if you keep pouring shit into my house and I'm cleaning it, why can't I do both? Why can't I clean my house and bar the windows from you shitting on my house?
Because it begins with responsibility within us. If we're like, okay, oh, the white person's doing this to me, the white person's not, we're not going to ever come to the core of the issue.
They are.
We need to take responsibility.
This is her, who I believe is a millionaire and has been pretty successful, is saying white people are making her life harder. Keep that in mind.
Even just the white person, because now we have seen very many races, people of very many backgrounds that are actively participating in the effort to keep a working class down. Like that is absolutely a fact. It's not just white people. So I don't attend to that. But I will say the reality of there being systems in place is real. Over-policing is a real thing. You know what's also been really real is the effort of violence interruption in certain communities, right?
What's funny about this is she says over-policing is a thing, so having too much police. You know what happened during defund the police in 2020? So all these major cities like Philly, Seattle, Baltimore, all these major cities defunded their police. So they had lower police force, which made longer response times. Do you know what happened in 2021, 2022? Record high crimes. I wonder why that is. And then at the end of 2022, all these major cities secretly started refunding their cities, and then crime started to go back down. Funny how that works, right? When you have more police officers available and the threat of them being around, crime goes down. That's so weird how that works. But the thing is, these major cities can only become so good when it comes to this because they already have a reputation of not caring about their police officers. They have their DAs will release someone the same day that these cops just put so much effort into arresting. Someone could assault and beat the crap out of someone and get released a few hours later. Cops don't want to work in that environment. Cops want people being held accountable for their actions. So you have places like Baltimore, DC, and other major cities that are short on police officers all the time because now these cities have proven they don't care about them. So if they never defunded the police to begin with, all these record crimes would have never happened.
So we've seen this in Detroit, we've seen this in New York, we've seen this in Baltimore, where there are communities that have said, what we're going to do is we're going to be like a neighborhood watch for our community. So that before the popo even come, before 12 even rolls up in here, we're going to actually put ourselves in between the conflict and calm it down. And that has been incredibly effective. But you know what? It's not funded. It's not funded. And you would think that like city councils and mayors and governors would say, shit, you know what? This is going to save us so much money because why? Taxpayers keep having to pay for the fault of these police.
I honestly support a neighborhood watch idea. I think that's good, but I think that community should put that money together and do that themselves. They're that much fear. It shouldn't be government funded. Like if you live in like an HOA and the HOA wants to fund something like that, I say go for it. Your community should be putting money towards that. Or if they want to take like there's a say you live in like a community like 50 houses. This man in this house wants to take a watch one night for like an 8-hour shift. And you have this person over here doing it. If you want to do something like that, I say go for it. I have no issue with neighborhood watches and I think it can reduce crime. But I don't agree with it being government funded.
Officers. And even though we say, well, only a certain number of people have died, that doesn't dispel the fact that a large amount, more Black people are imprisoned than any other group in this nation. And that is not by accident.
Again,
Yeah, it's because Black people commit more crime, higher percentage of crime. What part of this are you not getting?
with accountability, and it just seemed like not.
But I disagree with you.
No,
I mean, I don't disagree with you.
Because here's the thing: look at our media. Look at rap. Look at what we're glorifying.
Right.
We're glorifying violence.
Who's we? Who's we? Who's
the Black community?
Who controls the
Black community?
Who controls the distribution of these sources of media?
And who takes it in?
And
who takes it in?
Listen.
See, this is where the blame is put wrong again. Yeah, I agree. There is a movement where like they do promote more, like the record labels promote more like hood music and stuff like that because they know it sells. Black people don't have to listen to it though. You're not forced to listen to certain music, especially in today's age where all of it's at your phone and your fingertips. You can listen to any music you want. So like he said, King Von, if you see King Von's being promoted everywhere, you don't have to listen to his music. And then what happens? His streams go down, his sales go down. And then you're telling those record labels that you're not interested in that music. But the issue is Black people consume that music. And then also white people consume that music too. And what's interesting too, this connection here is Black people commit a lot of crime and they blame it on this music, but white people don't. So I'm not sure, I think there's and maybe it's because white people don't feel represented by this Black music or something. I'm not sure, but it's an interesting disconnect, I guess.
And if you're, okay, so let me put it in this context. If I have a company, right, and you guys are my employees, and I determine what you get to eat every day, that's also going to determine how you exist in this company, right? Like if you come to work and I say the only thing you can eat is processed foods and fried foods and you're not going to get to have the best vegetables, etc. What's that going to affect? Your health, that's going to affect your ability to operate, etc. This is how the United States operates. There's a lot of us that don't want to admit that as much as accountable as we want to be, all of our brains also don't operate the same way. Some of us are much more apt to be indoctrinated than others. That's a fact. There is a 1% of people that knows this. There's a whole show called Mad Men that's about advertising, etc. And if we don't acknowledge multiple things at the same time, then we simply cannot stop it. We can be as accountable as we want to be. And I hope that if you're right, because I hope you're right, I wish that it was a situation where if Black people could just be accountable, then nothing else would matter. But unfortunately, that hasn't been the case because we have seen when we have Black Wall Street in Tulsa and we have Black Wall Street in Durham, that when we actually do hold our own and build our own communities, they will still come and run it down.
Boss, you've been voted.
Again, blaming someone else for running down your own communities. See, the thing is, like I said, you can attack these music industries and stuff like that for promoting this stuff But none of you do, though. No one attacks these people for doing it. They consume it. Like this guy's saying, it's all about, as long as you guys keep consuming it, they're going to think you want it. It's supply and demand. It all started with the 90s with NWA and all these other, Tupac, Biggie, promoting it. They saw that this is what people want to listen to. It's supply and demand. They're not going to promote something unless they know they can make money off it.
Out, please return to your seat.
Oh my God.
Joshua.
Hello, Joshua.
Yeah. So I have two claims I want to settle. So I'm originally from New Orleans, right? And I've seen black on black crime my whole
Absolutely.
life, right?
Yes.
I don't believe it have nothing to deal with the police. It's more with the community because there's a lot of pride that's in that city where to the point where this person can't tell me nothing. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna take him out.
Yeah.
It's that simple in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Now in Cali it's probably the same way, but I
Okay.
feel like every state is different. You probably the way how your belief is might be right? But in New Orleans, it's a little different. Also, my second claim is this: we proclaim so much about Black Lives Matter, but when it comes down to a white person killing a black person, it's a big deal. It just don't make no sense to me.
Do you know what the statement Black Lives Matter is actually stating?
Yeah, well, just started off from George Floyd.
Start off with Mike Brown.
Mike Brown, okay.
So Black Lives Matter is really simply just stating that when black people are murdered by the police, that our lives should matter. And that oftentimes it is not considered. It is oftentimes presented as we deserved it, or we must have done something to cause it, and that our lives are disposable. We also don't ever see true justice on the same level as others when the police incur violence against black people. So Black Lives Matter is a statement asserting that our lives are worth justice, our lives are worth preservation, and we have seen in innumerable instances a level of restraint operated between the police and people of other races that they do not seem to carry with black people. So that's what Black Lives Matter.
It's funny because a lot of the attacks on black people that they get so mad about and they riot and stuff like that, a few days later, the body cam footage will come out and it will show the black man attacking the cop. And if you're attacking a police officer has a right to defend himself. That's what always happens, almost always. Now, if it's a black man getting gunned down for no reason, I don't support that. And that's a great thing. We have body cams to always have the truth, always tell the truth. And it's funny because we're talking about Black Lives Matter. So I'm assuming she still defends Black Lives Matter. They have proven to be a huge corrupt organization. The leaders have bought multi-million-dollar mansions. They haven't done anything good for the black community. They haven't helped the black community, but they keep accepting donations.
Means. It doesn't mean that anyone else's life doesn't matter. It means that ours matter just as much as their lives.
That's good that you cleared it out for people.
Nobody else did it.
I appreciate you. Now, as it comes to New Orleans, tell me this. Well, first of all, it was, I think it's the senator of Louisiana who literally made a campaign ad, Kennedy it was, that said, do you want Louisiana to be run by crackheads?
Actually, this John Kennedy ad was absolutely hilarious because it was I'm pretty sure it was during the defund the police movement. And he said, if you hate police so much, next time you need help, call a crackhead. Because if you hate cops so much, why would you call the cops to help you? Like she said, ACAB all day before in this debate. So all cops are bad. So what do you think she would do if someone broke into her house? I guarantee she would call the cops, right?
Like he said straight
they
up.
have a bunch of them there. Yeah. They
So
do.
here's my question about New Orleans. Would you say that New Orleans gets, that particular areas of New Orleans, for instance, like the Ninth Ward?
The Ninth Ward's crazy, but I'm just saying they crazy.
Would you say that funding and attention is dispersed equally across New Orleans in terms of resources? Because I know that from living through Katrina, that is absolutely not the case.
I agree with you in that case. Everybody's not equal when it comes down to resources. For sure, I agree with you.
Here's the thing I want to just impart is that I think that we have a very distorted version of what resiliency and what restorative practice is because we live in a time where we're seeing so many things happen so fast. So we've seen technology advance so fast, right? We have seen just our lives shift so fast that I think that we forget that as humans, our ability to recalibrate, to heal from trauma is simply not the same as the things that we are watching in technology. And so we cannot just casually think that people just get over things. Katrina, people in New Orleans are still reeling from Katrina.
Yeah, they are. That's true. That's true. That is true.
So
yeah.
That's a natural disaster. That's not the same thing as everything else you're saying.
We talk
That is
about the amount of crime and violence that is still living and happening explicitly in Katrina. We have to also talk about the amount of trauma, the amount of drug use, the amount of policing, the amount of all of these things that physically harm people across the world, not just in the United States, across the world in communities that are not being served, and how those communities never get the chance to quote unquote pull themselves up by the bootstraps.
Yeah, I agree. I personally agree. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
that
for
was
sure.
fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Thanks, Josh.
No problem.
I will never understand the over policing argument. Because like in DC right now, where Trump just sent the National Guard like a week ago, a lot of the local community supported that. The media didn't talk about that because they want to make it seem like Trump's a dictator, but they supported that because they know the crime is awful there and they want extra support. And like I said, these big cities have trouble bringing in cops now because of how they've been treated throughout the years. Why would you want to deal with that environment as a police officer when you can go somewhere like Florida or Texas where you're way more respected? So it's just, I will never understand that argument. I think she's just very, I don't want to say brainwashed, but just misled, I guess, maybe. Because like I said, if someone broke into her house, which she probably lives in a nice white neighborhood, knowing her, if someone broke into her house, I guarantee she would call the cops, and I guarantee she would depend on the cops to defend her. It's funny how that works out, right? So that was part 2. I'm going to do part 3 and part 4 at some point, so be on the lookout for that. If you haven't seen part 1, it'll be in the description down below. Highly recommend you watch it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.